Right, it's the 23rd of November today. It's a rather bizarre day because I'm sure you can tell with hat, scarf, gloves and things. It's very cold. I think it's about 3 degrees at the moment. So when we woke up this morning, we had a frost. So that was a bit of a shock to the system. We had snow on Saturday, not much, just a little bit. Didn't last, so that was good. But also the sun is shining, so I really do need my sunglasses on. But I'm up here on the allotment and I've got lots to do and lots to show you, so let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to show you is I'm going to harvest the popcorn. It's done really well this year. In fact, I should have harvested it, well, I usually harvest it, you know, like in the end of September, beginning of October, but the weather's been so warm, it's still been able to stay out here. So now we've actually had a frost, I'm going to bring it in and leave it to dry. So there's some lovely big corns, so let me show you how it got on this year. Right, so hopefully there's a lovely big one there, there's a nice one there, there's a good one there, there's a couple on here, there's loads. So when you want to harvest this, all you need to do, I've actually pulled this away because I wanted to see if it was still okay. All you need to do is to, with one hand, hold the plant, and then with the other hand, just pull the corn down. You would do the same with corn on the cob, just give it a good pull down, and it'll come off. And it'll be covered in all of its little wrapping. So I'll just peel this one back just to show you. Take all the hairy bits off. So hopefully you can see that it's done really quite well. I haven't put it back all the way, it's got further back to go. Yes, that's quite a good one. This one here is actually bigger. So I'll harvest them all and then I'll show you what I've got. Right, so these are all the ones I've got. They all vary in size. Some are very small. In fact, this one's incredibly small. But what I'll do is when I get home, I'll check them all and just make sure that they've actually got some corn on them. If they haven't, then I'll just discard them. This one I am very pleased about. If they were all that size, I would be one very, very happy little soul. Now, when you get home with popcorn, popcorn is ready when it's very dry on the outside. Actually, that one looks more like sweet corn. That can't be right. Let's do this one anyway. When your popcorn is ready, when the outside is all brown and papery. So when you get home, what you need to do, take all the outside bits off, all the strandy bits inside, and then just have the cob. Leave that cob in a frost-free place, preferably a garage or a shed, somewhere that is away from mice, because if mice smell it, then they will eat it. So somewhere that is very safe, and just leave it to dry out for about a month. It could be a bit longer, it just depends. And you'll know when they're ready after about a month. Just try and flick the little bits off, the kernels off. Oh look, that one has actually started to be nibbled by a mouse. If the kernels come off really, really easily, then it's dried. If they don't, it needs to dry a bit longer. So it's just a case of trying and seeing when they're off. You can't leave them for too long. If you leave them for 3 months, if you forget about them, then fine, that doesn't matter, because then they'll dry out beautifully. And then when I do come to sort of flip them off, I will do a video so you can see, and then you can pop them, and I'll show you how to do that as well, but you can add all sorts of different flavours in. So I'll put all these in the box, and then I'll show you what's left of the sweet corn, or of the popcorn, sorry, and show you what to do with the plants. Now all you need to do then is just to dig the plants up and just weed the area that they're in. You'll most probably find that they've actually gone down a very long way, so sometimes it's a bit tough getting them up. They have huge roots on the bottom of them. Gosh, this one's tricky. But when you do plant them out, you have to make sure that you plant them down far enough, because if you have a load of wind, the wind could blow them over. So that one was down that far in the soil. So that's one, and once you've dug them up, they're actually really good in the compost heap. They'll break down beautifully. So I'll carry on clearing this this bed, weeding it and getting it ready for winter, and then we'll move on to something else. Now these are the Celeriac. I am not expecting huge massive things from these this year because they did go in incredibly late. You can see that some of the leaves have actually started to turn. That's because of the frost. If you leave them in, the Celeriac, I tend to find that the Celeriac tend to get eaten and do tend to rot. So you need to get them up roughly around sort of the first frosts, and then just store them in a frost-free place, or you could cut them up and stick them in the freezer. But we'll dig some of these up and see how they're getting on. As I say, I'm not expecting fantastic things from them just because they went in so late, but you never know. Some of the leaves on top, they do look good. Let's dig some up and see what we find. Right, I think we'll try this one here and that one there. So assume that it's really nice and big, because a good size for a Celeriac would be about 4 or 5 inches across. So push the fork down as far as it will go, bring it back. They should come out fairly easily unless you have massive ones. No, you see, look, they went in so late. I had such much nicer ones last year because they went in nice and early, but these ones were incredibly late, so that one's not very good. I thought I'd give them a go, but I think they're going to be a bit of a waste of time this year, to be honest with you. And I am quite right, they are. I mean, once you've taken all the roots off the bottom, that's all I've got. Last year they did really, really well. So I'll dig these up. I mean, even once you've peeled them, there's not going to be much there to even use. So I'll dig them up. If I do come across any that are respectable, I will show you, but to be honest with you, I think they're all going to be that's going to most probably be the biggest size I will get this year. So a bit of a disappointment, but not a surprise, just because they went in so late. So never mind, we can't win them all. Well, I've just dug all the Celeriac up, and lots of them were very, very, just, you know, ridiculously small. If you did want to keep your small ones, what they would be good for is if you're making, you could just take the leaves off, take the roots off, and just leave the skins on. But if you're making stock, they would be nice to just sort of plonk in the stock whole, because they'd give it quite a nice flavour. So they're not a complete waste. But I have actually got 5 reasonable, sort of, you know, much better than the other ones. These ones are about 1 inch across. I know it's most probably quite difficult to see because of all the mud on them, but they're about 1 inch across. So's that one and that one there. So I've got 4 that are about 1 inch across, and then up came this one, which I am considering quite pleased with. It's about 2 inches across, so it'll be, you know, underneath all of this, it'll be under about 2 inches round. So that's not bad. So I'll take those guys home, and we'll use these in stews and casseroles, whereas the other ones I'll just cut the tops off and just give them a good old wash and use them in stock. So just stick them in the freezer whole, and then when I'm making a stock, then I'll just whack some in. So if there's nothing on there at all, then you might as well get rid of it. But then the leaves taste very nice as well, so if they haven't been caught by frost, then you can use the leaves in salads and things like that. So not too bad, but I think because we've now had 2 frosts, good frosts, I think we're going to go over and we're going to dig up the parsnips. Right, well, here are this year's parsnips. You can see that now we've had a frost, the leaves are starting to droop. But before you harvest the parsnips, you need to make sure you've had at least one decent frost. You can leave them in until you need them, or you can dig them all up when you've had a frost if you're sort of limited on how often you can come down your allotment. And once you've harvested them all, just clean them off, peel them, and then just freeze them in sort of what the size that you would want to roast them in, which is what I'm going to do. So let's dig them up and see what we find. They were quite slow to germinate this year, so there aren't a huge amount of them, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that there are some good sized ones there. So let's see what we can find. Right, so it's trying to find them because obviously the leaves sort of spread. I do actually have a rogue potato in here as well, which I'll get up as well. So don't dig too close to the leaves because you might poke the parsnip, but dig, I would put the fork in about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, I guess, away from the parsnip. Push it all the way down, pull it all the way back, and then grab the leaves all together near the bottom, and as the fork comes up, you can pull it a little bit like we did with the carrots. Ooh! Aha! Well, there's one. That's a nice one. I like that one. Okay, that's a good start. So I'm just going to dig the rest up, and then I'll show you what I've got. Well, with all that digging of the parsnips, I've had to take my hat off. Now, the celeriac may well have done atrociously, shall we say, this year. However, the parsnips, on the other hand, have definitely made up for it. They were very tricky to get out, which is always a good sign. There are some sort of, you know, like the first one I showed you, sort of what I would class as normal size. And then we go up to something like this. There's another one. Sorry, the mud's still on there, I'll get that off. You know, and I've got this, I think this is my smallest one. I'm very proud, so proud. But there aren't many that I would class as small. I think this is my largest one. Oh, oh, there we are. It's nice and round, and then it has several legs. I do have one that is about that round and has looks of legs. It looks like something out of an alien film. They've done very, very well. I did mention to you one that had canker. Here it is. Let me explain to you what canker is. There's a lot of soil on this. Let me try and take it off. Okay, it's only on this one, bizarrely enough. I only planted 2 rows of parsnips, and some people say that you get canker if you sow them too early in the season. Some people say too late. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But basically what it is instead of the parsnip going white or staying white, it goes a sort of, can you see that? It sort of goes a browny colour and goes really hard, and it's not very nice. So the parsnip usually inside is ruined as well. If you catch canker just as it's starting, then you can save the parsnip. So just cut away the cankered bit, as it were. But this one I'm definitely going to have to throw out because it's absolutely all over it. It makes it go really, really hard and quite sort of sharp and pointy. It's bizarre, but it's just that one, as I've seen, as I've dug up, and all the rest are the same. But I am very, very pleased with these this year. They have done incredibly well. They're not straight. Well, of course they're not, they're mine. So, but they are very, very nice. So I will wash these when I get home, because the water's not running on the site now, because they turn it off when it gets to the winter, because we don't use it. So I'll once I've cleaned them up, I'll take a picture and I'll stick it on the blog. Now, before I go, let me see if there's anything else I can do. I'll have a look and I could come back to you in a sec. No, you know what, I think that'll be it for today. I've got a few faffy little bits to do, but they're just sort of weeding and tidying, which you don't want to see because that's all frightfully boring. And my toes are starting to get cold, even though I've got 2 pairs of socks on. I'll call that it for today for the video, but next time I come down I will show you something else, because I've got more stuff to do, but I'll do that another day. Well, I hope you've found what I've shown you today interesting, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.